and a very warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Hishain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. Government extends the 4% working capital loan deadline. Inflation marginally decreased in July compared to previous month. News in detail. The central bank states that the headline inflation has decreased marginally in July this year in comparison to the month before. Headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index decreased to 6.1% in July from 6.3% in June this year. The reduction in the headline inflation was mainly driven by the statistical effect of the high base prevailed in July 2019. Meanwhile, food inflation decreased to 12.9% in July this year from 13.6% in June same year, whereas non-food inflation increased to 1% in July 2020 from 0.8% in June 2020. The change in the NCPI measured on an annual average basis increased to 5.9% in July 2020 from 5.6% in June 2020. Monthly change of NCPI recorded at 0.0% in July 2020. This was due to setting off the price decline of 0.15% in the food category, with the price increase observed in the non-food category by the same magnitude. Accordingly, within the food category, prices of vegetables, red onions, limes and rice declined during July 2020, while prices of items in restaurants and hotels, alcoholic beverages and tobacco and health subcategories recorded increases within the non-food category. Further, core inflation increased to 4.5% in July 2020 from 4.4% in June 2020, while annual average core inflation decreased to 4.5% in July 2020 from 4.6% in June 2020. Central Bank announces that it has extended the deadline of application for 4% working capital loan scheme for the COVID-19 affected businesses until 30th September this year. Issuing a press release, the central bank states that its monetary board has decided to extend the deadline of 4% working capital loan scheme. Accordingly, COVID-19 affected businesses and individuals can submit their loan applications under the Saubhagya COVID-19 Renaissance facility to respective licensed banks until the 30th September 2020. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka surpassed the milestone of 100 billion rupee loans last week, approving 100,017 million rupee worth of loans submitted by 36,489 applicants under the above facility. Out of approved loans, licensed banks have already disbursed more than 68.5 billion rupees among 25,365 affected businesses and individuals island-wide as of last Tuesday. Out of 100 billion rupees approved under the scheme, 50% has been provided to businesses in the services sector led by trade services, while distributing 34% and 16% among businesses in the industry sector and the agriculture sector respectively. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka, in consultation with the Government of Sri Lanka, introduced the Saubhagya COVID-19 Renaissance Loan Scheme facility in 3 phases to provide working capital loans at the interest rate of 4% per annum with a repayment period of 24 months, including a grace period of 6 months to businesses including self-employment and individuals adversely affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. The government has hiked the tax on imported potatoes to 55 rupees a kilogram with effect from August for 4 months. A gazette notification by the Finance Ministry announced that the tax is charged as a special commodity levy para tariff. Government has always taken measures to assure a fair market price for local products against the imported products, and the same assurance has been given for the potato farmer also. Accordingly, from August 15, the tax has gone up to 55 rupees a kilogram from an earlier 50 rupees a kilogram. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is also the Minister of Finance, addressing an election rally in Valimada during the general election, stated that the import of potatoes will be halted. Government also raised tariffs on imported fruits for 2 months in an attempt to counter the economic impact of the coronavirus pandemic at the beginning of May this year. Despite relaxing its lockdown on 20th April, the country's currency dropped to record lows against the US dollar, and the government put a focus on building a strong domestic agriculture industry in the near future. In response to these factors, the government introduced a special commodity levy on oranges, grapes, apples and pears on the 17th of April, according to a USDA report. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Australian High Commissioner for Sri Lanka David Hawley states that supporting women to participate in the economy and build a sustainable future for the country is very important, particularly in the time of COVID-19. This was mentioned at the launching of the Top 50 Professional and Career Women Awards Sri Lanka 2020, which is organized by the Women in Management together with the International Finance Corporation, promoting women's business leadership in Sri Lanka. Marking the 10th year of honoring inspiring Sri Lankan women, Women in Management, in collaboration with Women in Work, a partnership between IFC, a member of the World Bank Group, and the Government of Australia, launched the Top 50 Professional and Career Women Awards 2020. The move marks IFC's 6th consecutive year in co-hosting the awards, which recognizes and celebrates Sri Lankan women who have excelled in their careers, businesses and everyday life, inspiring others. With over 420 past award winners representing a wide array of professions such as banking and finance, hospitality, media, legal, logistics and supply chains, the Top 50 Professional and Career Women's Awards demonstrates the significant role women play in bringing about transformational change as employees, entrepreneurs and business leaders. The nominations for the awards are open until the 15th September this year and can be made by visiting www.womeninmanagementawards.org. Moreover, this year's panel of judges is chaired by Chairman and Managing Director of Jetwing Travel, Shiromal Kure, and some of its judges include High Commissioner of Australia to Sri Lanka, David John Hawley, Executive Vice President of John Keel's Group, Nadija Thambia, and CEO of Cool Track Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Pakistan, Dr. Rohanath Atkorala.
I think the panel, what we're looking for specifically this year, not just people who help the company, or therefore the economy. It could be anything else. It could be the society at large. It can be the environment. It just to make a difference, you know, in whatever way. Somebody said there was this mom with two children, we started with 4 people and now she has 12, so she's given employment 3 times over. So that's the kind of story that would inspire other people and say, okay, we can do it too. If she can do it, we can do it. So such inspirational stories. So please nominate people, you know, encourage people to apply for it, because it's just, don't get them to send just a CV, because the CV will only tell us what they are or what they are at that point in time. It should be like a little life story, you know, what we have achieved so far, what are we planning to do.
Meanwhile, addressing the same event, Women in Work program manager Sarah Twigg stresses that the studies show that financial entities with gender diversity experience better financial returns. But Sarah Twigg also added that major gender gaps exist in Sri Lanka and that those hinder the development of the country's business activities.
IFC's 2019 report in Sri Lanka concluded that across Sri Lanka's 30 largest listed companies, those that had higher gender diversity on their board of directors experienced better financial returns. But in Sri Lanka, there are major gender gaps that persist, and these are holding back the country and the business community from achieving its full potential. Sri Lanka's ranking in the Global Gender Gap Report, which measures the gap between women and men in economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment, has declined precipitously within the past decade. In 2006, Sri Lanka ranked 13th out of 115 countries. This year, Sri Lanka has fallen 89 places and ranks 102 out of 153. This drop was driven by the significant and persistent gaps between women and men's participation in the paid labour force and in politics.
The wrong political culture of Sri Lanka that paves the way for the retired politicians to be re-elected to the legislative body of the country should be transformed for the good. This was brought forward when the Civil Society Organisation Centre for Democracy and Capacity Building convened a media briefing today morning.
දැන් අපි දැන් ලංකාවේ ඔය දේශපාලන සංස්කෘතියේ තියෙන දේ ඒක රාජ්‍ය සේවයටත් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. විශ්‍රාම ගියාම සභාපතිකමක් දෙන්න ඕන. විශ්‍රාම ගියාම තානාපතිකමක් දෙන්න ඕන. ඒක නෙමෙයිනේ වෙන්න ඕන. විශ්‍රාම ගියාම විශ්‍රාමයක්. අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා MP කෙනෙක් නැත්නම් മന്ത്രി කෙනෙක් විශ්‍රාම ගියාට පස්සේ යාට තනතුරක් දෙන්න ඕන. අගමැති විශ්‍රාම ගියාට පස්සේ තනතුරක් දෙන්න ඕන. ජනාධිපති විශ්‍රාම ගියාට පස්සේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එන්න ඕන. ඒක නෙමෙයිනේ රටේ වෙන්න ඕන. දේශපාලනඥයින්ටත් අනිත් අයට වාගේ විශ්‍රාම ගියාම විශ්‍රාම තියෙන්න ඕන. ලංකාවේ දේශපාලන नायකයෝ නොකරන දෙයක් මම සඳහන් කළා. ඒගොල්ලෝ හිතන්නේ කවදාවත් මම ගියාට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ හිතන්නේ මම ආරක්ෂා වෙලා හැමදාම ඉන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ මොන වුණත් කමන්නේ කියලා. ලංකාවේ පක්ෂවල තියෙන ලක්ෂණ ඒකයි. දැන් අපි සමාජලාට කියන්නේ තියෙනවා එයා දින නිසා හිටපු ආවේ. ඒක නෙමෙයි වෙන්න ඕන. දිනුවත් පෙරදුනත් එයාගේ කාර්යභාරය වරුණාට පස්සේ ඊළඟ කෙනාට බාර දෙන්න ඕන.
Stay tuned for SAC updates. Welcome back after the break. The trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 3.41 points to close at 5,385.79 and the S&P SL20 gained 4.8 points to close at 2,398.98. The turnover was 1.5 billion rupees and over 63 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Until then, take care and good night.